Hello?
Coming for you, son. You know I'm coming for you.
Who is this?
You know who it is. Don't act like you don't know who it is.
Backyard boss, I know it's you again. I don't want the smoke.
I know you don't want the smoke. I'm outside. Where you at, McSon?
Look, I don't want any trouble.
You know I'll kick that McAss. I'm outside. I got my smokers in the bag of charcoal. Where you at? What you trying to do?
I gotta McGo.
That's what I McGo. You know I can be real. I had never ever tried a McRib sandwich until recently, and it was when I was on a road trip to North Carolina. All my life it seemed to be like a region specific thing and never seemed to be available in any state that I lived in. It is a great novelty idea, but it had me thinking, what if I made an elevated version of the same thing but using a real smoker and proper KCBS barbecue competition techniques and some better twist on the components? Let's give this a shot and see what happens. I have an idea, but I don't want to spoil it for you, but I'm pretty sure, well, you have to wait and see. Let's start with some St. Louis cut ribs and, you know, the usual barbecue comp prep. Just remove the silver skin on the back. I'm skipping the trimming step here because we aren't, you know, turning these in for judges to look over. So let's just get rid of the bits that won't feel good in the mouth when we eat it. Today I'm using a combination of my favorite barbecue rubs for more of like a sweet heat profile. So the McRib, when I tasted it, was more sweet and a little savory with the sauce, but you know, I like some heat. Next, we're gonna start the fire on the big green egg. So I'm running a temp of 225 degrees for this and smoking them at 225 before I wrap them. So I figure McDonald's, you know, they don't really baby their ribs and spritz them in regular intervals like you would do for a comp. So, you know, again, I'm just putting in a sandwich, so ultimately I'm skipping the spritzing step. I did, however, go with a smoky, steamy effect by adding some beer to the drip pan, you know, to add some moisture during the cooking process. So this will make the meat tender, and you know, if you use this method, you have to commit to it and not open the smoker for the full length of the cook. Otherwise, you'll let out all the moisture that you've developed inside. So basically, once you get started, no peeking. Okay, now it's time for the wrap step, so AKA the Texas Crutch. So just make a nice tight wrapped aluminum foil packet and add a mopping mixture, which usually consists of the following. So one is brown sugar, dark brown is better. 2 is honey. 3, you add some squeezable butter like Parkay, and then 4, a liquid that will braise and steam the meat, you know, to get them really tender. I usually use apple juice, but I didn't have any for this case, so I used some Dr. Pepper. Cherry Dr. Pepper works incredibly well also, by the way. Shout out to Dr. Pepper. Okay, so they've been in the foil, you know, steaming and braising for about an hour. And, you know, again, total cook time is about 5 hours. So it's 4 hours on the smoker, and then, you know, you wrap them with the mopping mixture and let them run for like another hour. So now it's time to take them off. All right, so I flip them over and I take a knife and I slice the skin on the back to pop out the bone easily. And it doesn't take much effort. You know, if you cook them, you'll know that they're tender. You know, these actually probably could have gone a little longer to where you can just pull it out without having to slice. So I'm going to test that theory again, but I think that that's probably a good measure of when it's time, you know, when they're ready. Off camera, I sauteed some thinly sliced onions in olive oil and garlic until they became translucent. And then I added some barbecue sauce and let it all simmer for about 30 minutes, super slow, you know, so all the flavors kind of meld together. So my favorite bun to use for barbecue sandwiches is a potato roll. It's amazing. It just seems to hold its shape and absorb the juicy unctuousness beautifully, and it tastes great, just like I said. So instead of putting a piece of a slab of a rib on a bun, I thought it might have a better mouthfeel to slice it on the bias, you know, in 1/4-inch slices, and then layer that nicely on top of the bun. And that's what I've done here. And that way, you know, when you put the barbecue sauce on, it could get in between the slices and absorb into the bread. Okay, so I drizzled some of my barbecue sauce concoction that's been simmering. Actually, it was my wife's idea to do that step. And then finished it off with some thinly sliced raw onions on top. To honor, essentially the way McDonald's makes the McRib. I think they use like diced onions on top, but I thought thinly sliced would have a better mouthfeel. Okay, now it's time to taste this, and man, just as I thought, this shit is amazing. It's definitely an upgraded and more elevated version of the McRib. I don't know, thanks for the inspiration. I'll definitely be adding this to my cookout menus for when friends come over to visit. So if you want to try this yourself, I'm including the recipe that I follow, that I guess I created below. And if you make it, let me know what you think, or jump down in the comments and give me some feedback and let me know what you thought about this. But me and my wife, we absolutely loved it, and we'll definitely be making this, and we have some ideas about how to trick this out even further, so stay tuned. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe so that you see what we are cooking up next on the next episode of The Backyard Boss. Peace!
Hello?